Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. So, the Bhagavad Gita, we've been studying, we're on the 13th chapter. One way of looking at the Bhagavad Gita, the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, is that you can, it has been suggested by masters in the past, you can divide it into 3 groups of 6 chapters each. The first group of chapters 1 to 6, then the next group would be chapters 7 to 12, and then finally 13 to 18. On what basis are you dividing them? Broadly speaking, the theme of the Bhagavad Gita is the theme of Advaita, of Vedanta, that Tattvamasi, you are that. That is the teaching. And these 3 groups of chapters, they take up the 3 steps of this analysis of the teaching, you are that you are Brahman. First of all, the focus is on you, on us, the individual beings. Chapters 1 to 6 is about us, the jiva, an inquiry into who we are, what we are, and how to realize that. Then chapters 7 to 12 are about Tat, that, God, the power behind the creation, preservation and destruction of the universe, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, God. So chapters 7 to 12 are about God. And then finally, chapters 13 to 18, the final conclusion, is about the whole teaching, that you are one with God, that you are Brahman, you are real, our real nature, Tattvamasi. What God truly is and what we truly are, the two are one. How to realize that? It's not just the teaching, not just the philosophy, how to practically realize that, how to live it. Now one might say that there are lots and lots of things in these 3 groups of 6 chapters each which do not conform to this pattern. And that's true. But broadly speaking, for example, we studied from chapter 7 to 12. Notice, culminating in chapter 12, it was all about the glory of God. Chapters 10 and 11 were particularly about the glory of God. And then chapter 12, it was entirely about devotion to God, devotional service to God. Chapter 13 is where Sri Krishna brings it together. That this grand identity, the identity of the Jiva and Brahman, the individual and the cosmic, that we are one limitless consciousness. So 13th chapter, we'll just read the first 3 verses. Is the question there? No, in this book itself. So there's another peculiarity about the 13th chapter, that in some books you'll see it starts with a question from Arjuna. Prakritim purusham chaiva kṣhetraṁ kṣhetragyam eva ca etad veditum ichchami jnanam geyam ca Keshava. O Keshava, 6 questions. What is Prakriti, nature? What is Purusha, spirit? What is the field? What is the knower of the field? What is knowledge and what is to be known? I would like to know these things. Now in some places, some books, some editions, you will not find this question. Straight away Sri Krishna starts speaking. And the suspicion is that this question was introduced later on in order to make sense of the contents of the chapter. Just whatever Sri Krishna has taught in this chapter has been put in the question. So Sri Krishna starts by talking about Ksetrajna, the knower of the field. What is the field and the knower of the field? We'll chant those 2 verses which we have seen, and we've seen it extensively. Just before we closed for summer, we saw verses 1 and 2. Sri Krishna's teaching, the first verse and the second verse, on the field and the knower of the field. Extremely important. Sort of philosophically the center, the linchpin of the Bhagavad Gita, one might say. We saw that. Let's chant these 2 verses. I'll chant, you can follow after me if you like, and then we'll go forward. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Idam Shariram Kaunteya, Idam Shariram Kaunteya, kṣhetraṁ ityabhidhiyate, kṣhetraṁ ityabhidhiyate, etadyo vetti tam prahu, etadyo vetti tam prahu, Ksetrajna iti tadvidah. Ksetrajna iti tadvidah. Ksetrajnam chapi mam vidhi. Ksetrajnam chapi mam vidhi. Sarva kshetreshu bharata. Sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam. Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam. Yataśh jnanam matam mama. Yataśh jnanam matam mama. So Sri Krishna said, this body, O Arjuna, this body, give it a label, call it the field. I mean, the whole universe is the field. Whatever you know, whatever we experience is the field. But our real problem starts with the body. So focus on the body first. This body is the field. And the one who knows it means the one who experiences it from within. That one is called the knower of the field. Etad yoveti, the one who experiences the body. All of us here, all of us right now, we are all experiencing ourselves as this body. Here is the body, and I can feel it, I can see it. It's an object to all my senses. It is the one which is closely associated with me, and I am intimately associated with this body. I speak and behave and think and feel as if I am the body. I might even say my body. But whether I say I am the body or whether I say it is my body, I am intimately connected with this body. So Krishna says, this is the body, call it the field. And then there is the knower of the field, you are there. You feel one with the body. So this meaning, this is the knower of the field, Kshetrajna. Sri Krishna will introduce us to two meanings of that. One is the straightforward meaning, just the person. I, the embodied person, you, I, all of us, we are embodied persons. This is the body-mind complex. I am here, this is who I am. So this is one meaning. Knower of the field means the embodied person, the Jivatma. But then he indicates something here. The one who knows this, and we did this analysis. This is the key that will unlock Advaita Vedanta. If you say, I know this, the one who knows is different from what you know. If you know something, you are different from what you know. I see this table, then the eyes which see the table must be different from it. Otherwise, you can't see it. The knower and the known must be different. The subject and the object must be different. And that makes it very interesting. Because clearly I know the body. On one hand, I say I am this body or it is my body. I am intimately connected with it. At the same time, I say I know this body. One might say, so what? I know this body. I see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. It's an object to all my senses. Me, the conscious being, for me, this body is an object. In that case, I, the conscious knower of the body, the knower of the field, must be different from the field. Different in the sense of being a distinct entity. Tremendous fact. Subject and object cannot literally be the same. The seer and the seen cannot literally be the same. Drashta and drishya cannot literally be the same. And therefore, Kshetra and Kshetrajna, field and knower of the field, cannot literally be the same thing. Big claim here. This is where it's all, right now, all the debates and everything is going on right now. Is the body producing you? Yes, we understand you are a conscious being. But this conscious being is nothing but then the activities of the body. The brain, nervous system is producing you. Like a flame burning in a candle. Your so-called consciousness is a byproduct of the brain. That is what is the general idea. But here is the claim is, if you know it, then you are distinct from it. Clearly we know the body. Then I, whatever I am, this conscious entity, I cannot literally be the body. I am intimately connected with the body, but I am not literally the body. The body is the field, I am the knower of the field. This morning, an interesting experience. One of the leading neuroscientists in the world, very well-known person, Dr. Anil Seth. So we had a debate this morning. He is in England, I was in New York, and the ones who were conducting the interview, they were in Australia. So across the world. But it's a very interesting thing. So he says it's a product of the brain. But he admits that it's not so easy to define exactly what the brain does to produce consciousness. The hard problem of consciousness, he says, we have not solved it yet. I hope we will, as we keep on doing neuroscience, we'll dissolve it. So that's, and our attitude is good luck to that. So, and he's very open. He's very open-minded. He's thinking deeply about it. And it was very touching. He said that, when my father died, so his part Indian and his mother is English, and he was born and brought up in England, so he's very British. This is when my father died. I don't know much about Indian culture, but when my father died, we did two services, one in Prayagraj in India and one in Oxfordshire. In Oxfordshire, in the funeral service, he said, I chanted from the Isha Upanishad and said, he who sees all beings in the self, and he who sees the self in all beings, to the one who thus sees oneness, what fear, what sorrow can there be? He moves and he moves not. He goes far away, remaining right here. So, Isha Upanishad. And this is very evocative. Anyway, so we had this long discussion. Basically, it comes down to the fact that what do you think? Is the field producing the field knower? Or is the field knower and the field, they are two different? They are interacting, no doubt about it. So Krishna is of the opinion that, Vedanta is of the opinion that the field knower of the field, you are not literally the body. Then he goes on to the second verse. The questions will arise that, alright, so I am not the body. What about the mind? I am the mind. This is something I again put forth in the debate. This is something that is not understood in the modern philosophy of mind, in modern neuroscience, especially in modern psychology. Consciousness and mind are two distinct entities. Whenever we do consciousness studies today, in the modern consciousness studies, and Dr. Seth admitted as much, we are always studying the consciousness with its objects together. What are you studying in consciousness? Thoughts, pain, pleasure, color. But when you're seeing color, I'm seeing this orange flower. This flower, the orange flower, is an object, and I am the conscious being experiencing it. So when you're seeing, I'm seeing orange, there are two things already. There's consciousness and the orange color. The orange color is an object to consciousness. Krishna is saying whatever is an object is the field. It's not consciousness. Consciousness is the knower of the field. They're two distinct things. This is an idea I tried to interject into the debate, that mind and consciousness are two different things, because mind is also, object. Feel pain, yes, it's an object to you. Feel you're having a wonderful memory, nostalgic, it's an object. You got a brilliant idea, that's an object. You have a desire for pumpkin spice latte, it's an object. The desire is an object. The senses, the warmth of the drink, and the taste of the drink, and the flavor of the drink, and the smell of the drink, object. All of them are different kinds of objects to consciousness. So mind and perceptions, they are objects. Even mind is not the knower of the field. We are going very deep here, very subtle here. Normally when we say I am the knower, I am the subject, and the object is different, nobody has any serious objections to that. We say I am the subject here, but what we mean by subject is the mind basically. But here he's saying the knower of the field, if you know something, it's the field. You are the knower of the field. But we know the mind. Then the mind becomes the field. Body is the field. Mind is the field. Prana is the field. Buddhi is the field. All of them are field. I am the knower of the field. I am conscious. This knower of the field by itself, bare consciousness. In Vedanta, we call it pure consciousness. In Sanskrit, there are many words. Chit, Chiti, Samvit, Bodha, Chaitanya. Many words are there. So, this consciousness, a question will next arise. So, I am consciousness in body-mind. Body-mind, you're calling it field, and I am consciousness. Alright, good enough. But there are so many body-minds here. How many consciousnesses are there? One consciousness or many? And what about God? You have not mentioned God yet. So then this second verse, very important verse. Sri Krishna says, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. In all the fields, know that there is only one knower of the field. So one consciousness. Again, very counterintuitive. I am not body, not mind. That means I am consciousness. And again, I am one with everybody. I am the same consciousness in all beings. There is only one consciousness. And Krishna says, I am that one consciousness. So what is God? God is the one consciousness associated with all minds and all beings. What is what are you or I? We are the knower of the field associated with one mind and one body. God is the knower of the field associated with all minds and bodies. But the knower of the field is only one. There are not two knowers of the field. There are many knowers of the fields. If you take it as person, then there are many persons. Body, mind. But if you apply this analytic knife given by Krishna, knower is different from the known. In that case, it becomes one knower. One knower in the sense, one witness consciousness, one knower of the field, one kshetrajna. And that one kshetrajna is also Krishna. Krishna is that. We have three things now. Bare consciousness itself. Atman, Brahman, whatever you call it. That bare consciousness itself, one, in association with all bodies and minds. This is called God, Saguna Brahman, Ishvara, Krishna. That bare consciousness itself, in association with one body and mind. That's you. That's me. Jivas are many, Ishvara is one, Brahman is one. Knower of the field is one. And this is, Krishna says, this is real knowledge. The commentator says, what is real knowledge? This is the meaning of this whole thing. Verse 1 and 2, what Krishna taught is Tat Tvamasi, you are that. So here he has brought the whole thing together. He is teaching, you are that one reality. You and Krishna are one reality. You and Brahman, Atman is equal to Brahman. Atman and Brahman is one reality. This is the teaching. And Shankaracharya writes the longest commentary in his whole commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. The longest, most subtle, penetrating commentary, page after page after page. And we saw some samples of that before we closed. But now, Arjuna asked a question about what is Ksetra. And this is, Ksetra means the field. Here you have used it, Krishna used it to point out that you are the knower of the field and you must be pure consciousness. You are Atman, that Atman is Brahman. The final teaching was given. But tell me a little more in detail about the field. You just said the body is the field. But really, there is a lot else here in this universe other than the body. And the body itself is a product of many things in the universe. So tell me a little more about the field. Because Arjuna asked this question, what is the field? Please tell me about the field. So that's going to happen in the next few verses. Verse number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7? No, up to 6. In my books, up to 6. So depending on whether the question has been included in your book or not. In my book, we're going to go to verse number 3. Tat-kṣhetraṁ yad-vikāri Tat-kṣhetraṁ yad-vikāri yad-vikāri yataśh yad-vikāri yataśh sacayo yat-prabhāvaśh tat samāsena me śhṛiṇu. What that kshetra is, what is it like, what its modifications are, whence it arises, and what its forms are, and also what the other entity, the kshetrajna, is, and what its powers are. Hear that from me in brief. So he has used these two terms, field and knower of the field, to point out something very important, that you are pure consciousness. In order to realize, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, I am of the nature of Shiva, I am pure consciousness. That central teaching has been given. Field and knower of the field, same as drashta and drishya, seer and the seen. Field and knower of the field, same as prakriti and purusha. Now, Tat kṣhetraṁ. So the kshetra, the field. Yat-cha. What is it? I'm going to give you the whole list, the inventory now. Because earlier I just said it's the body. But it's certainly much more than the body. It's all of this. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to give you a description of what this universe is. What is the field? Then yādṛik. What's it like? What are its properties? And then yad-vikāri. What are the modifications? What comes out of it? Yataśh yat. What is the cause and what is the effect? Cause and effect. Yata means from which something else has come. Implying here something very interesting. That cause and effect both belong to the field. The knower of the field, very subtle point, the knower of the field, pure consciousness is not a product of anything, it's not a cause of anything else. Not a product, not a cause. That means when you ask ultimate reality, Brahman, where did it come from? You're asking what was the cause of Brahman? No cause, it's not produced. But even more interesting, what comes out of the knower of the field? What comes out of pure consciousness? What comes out of pure being? Answer is nothing. It has no causal link to this universe. All causality, causation is within the universe. So that sounds pretty abstract. What does it mean? It means a question like, why did Brahman produce this universe? No meaning. It didn't. Why did the one become the many? No meaning. One didn't become the many. But then what is this universe? Make of it what you will. Brahman is not bothered. We often say Brahman is the cause of the universe. That's how it's defined in the Brahma Sutras. Janmadhyasya yataha. What is Brahman? Brahma Sutras, and what is Brahman? Brahman is that from which the universe is born, in which it exists, into which it disappears. So clearly Brahman is the cause of the universe. No, that's only secondarily. It's Brahman in association with Maya, which is the cause of this universe. Brahman by itself is not the cause of anything. So yataśh yat. What is given here is a subtle indication. Causality is within nature. Causality is within Maya. Beyond Maya, no causality. There's nothing that links this universe to Brahman. This entire universe depends on Brahman. Without Brahman, no universe. Yet Brahman is entirely free from this universe. All sorts of subtle, abstract talk. What good is it to me? You are entirely free of this universe. See how deep this question runs. In today's debate, one of the interviewers said, look, consciousness exists eternally. I don't want it to exist eternally. I'm scared of it. I would prefer that it all goes away. Materialism at least promises me when I die, it's gone. I don't want to experience even nice consciousness, heaven and all of that. I don't want to experience. If I'm gone, I will not even know I'm missing out. Before I was born, I was not there, so it was all right. After my death, let me not be there. I'll be all right. It'll be fine. So this runs very deep. Because somehow consciousness, being conscious of the other, it's threatening for us. It's a deep source of unease for us. It's temptation also. But also terror. Temptation means the other, the world. People, food, enjoyments, possibilities, achievements. These are tempting us. But also disease and suffering and ill treatment and pain and death. This is suffering. So the possibility of experience scares us. This is a deep philosophical fear we have. How about not existing at all? How about just not existing at all? Just stop. But why? Upanishad says, why this unease? Dvitiyad vai bhayam bhavati. Your problem is not with consciousness. Your problem is with experience, the possibility of experience. What is experience? Consciousness plus something else is an experience. Consciousness plus object is an experience. Field plus knower of the field plus field is an experience. If there was no second, it would not be a problem. And what Advaita does is, it does not wipe you out. Wiping you out, wiping ourselves out is not an option. You may say that all these are very abstract discussions. No, not abstract. There's thousands of people, millions of people trying to drink themselves into a stupor, trying to drug themselves into a stupor. They want to stop experience. Thousands of people killing themselves, shooting themselves, killing. They want to stop experience. Who was that philosopher? Camus, I think, who starts that book? Myth of Sisyphus, I think. First line, famous first line. The only serious question is why I should not commit suicide right now. That's the only serious question. Advaita answers, first of all, you cannot commit suicide. If more you investigate Advaita, you will not stop. Everything else in the universe can stop. You will not stop. Because you are reality itself. So I am condemned to eternal existence. No. Everything else exists. The field exists because of you. You don't exist because of anything else. And remember, even while experiencing the other, you are completely free of the other. There is no problem at all for you. That's what Advaita teaches us. That in the midst of experience, have life. You say moksha is getting freedom from the circle of birth and death. No, have circle of birth and death also. Have thousands of lives. Nothing touches you. Right now, Brahman is having, see, hundreds of people, we are Brahman, this is Brahman. If this is Brahman, it must be Brahman right now. It must be the knower of the field right now. It's living. It's right here, going through life. This is only after enlightenment. No, even before enlightenment. Before enlightenment is Brahman getting dented and scratched and injured and damaged, wear and tear? Not at all. It just seems like that. It seems like that because we are identified with the body-mind. Body-mind gets affected, but you are not the body-mind. So when you say abstract things like causality is within Maya, it's a great, great message of hope and freedom. You are entirely free. In the midst of most horrible circumstances also, you are entirely free. There is nothing in the universe which can bind you or me. Because we are the reality of this universe. That one depends on you. You don't depend on anything else. You are not bound to anything else. It's because of the sense of the other that there is fear. And Advaita Vedanta wipes out the sense of the other. It makes it non-dual. There is no other to you. There is nothing else here except you. Anyway, so all of this from yataśh yat, from the cause and effect, all part of the field, not the knower of the field. You are not connected causally with the universe. You, not the body-mind. Body-mind definitely is. Sachayo yat-prabhāvaśh. Here, now in the second line, he talks about the knower of the field, you, the pure consciousness. What is the glory? What is your glory? Tat samāsena me śhṛiṇu. Listen to all of that in brief. Where is it going to talk about it? In the 13th chapter. First of all, he'll talk about it in the next few verses, and then towards the end of the 13th chapter, and that will be it. In between, there will be some very advanced practices for non-duality, which we will see from class afterwards. But now he's going to tell us a little bit about the field. And he says, in brief. See, this is in brief. Where can I find it in detail? Vast literature is there. Entire Vedanta library is open to you. All the literature of the Sanatana Dharma talks about the field and its glories and the knower of the field in detail. Next verse will talk about it. Verse number 4. ṛiṣhibhir bahudhā gītaṁ, ṛiṣhibhir bahudhā gītaṁ, chhandobhir vividhaiḥ pṛithak, chhandobhir vividhaiḥ pṛithak, brahma sutra padaiśchaiva, Brahma Sutra Padeshchaiva Hetu Madbhir Vinishchitaihi Hetu Madbhir Vinishchitaihi. It has been sung differently by the sages, rishis, and variously in different Vedic hymns, as also in passages indicative and descriptive of Brahman, furnished with reasons and decisive. So, ṛiṣhibhir bahudhā gītaṁ. Where do we find all these details? Krishna, you're going to tell me in brief. So, where do I find the details? The details are in all the books. ṛiṣhibhir bahudhā gītaṁ. In various ways, the great rishis have sung about it. The commentators will explain. There is one rishi, Patanjali, who talks about samadhi, purusha, prakriti, how to sit, how to breathe, how to meditate, details of how to attain this realization through samadhi. Yoga Sutra. There are endless Puranas written by the rishis. They talk about bhakti. You can worship God as Devi. It's coming now. Durga Puja is coming. You can worship God as Shiva, as Narayana. Separate Puranas for each. It's like each of them can be enough to sustain a full religion in itself. And he says, Brahma Sutra Padeshchaiva. There is also another category of texts where you find the ultimate truths. Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss, what is reality, what you are, field and knower of the field. All of these are discussed in detail, where he uses a term which is intriguing, Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutra, the sutras of Brahman. One of my friends, a monk in India, he gave a series of talks called God Sutras about Brahma Sutra, explaining the Brahma Sutras. So, what is these Brahma Sutras? This is a foundational text of Advaita, of Vedanta. Vedanta, the foundational text of Vedanta, the Upanishads. Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pramanam. The Upanishads are the foundational texts of Vedanta. And the second text which is important, Upanishads is a group of texts. The second text which is important in Vedanta is this one, Bhagavad Gita, which we are studying. This is a root, a source text of Vedanta. But there is a third one, which a lot of people don't study, because it's more technical, more for specialists. But it's also foundational for Vedanta. That's called the Brahma Sutras. So that Brahma Sutras, if that's what he's talking about, there's a little doubt exactly what does Krishna mean by the Brahma Sutras. One could be the book itself, the Brahma Sutras. That book consists of sutras. Sutras are aphorisms, very short, compact. Nowadays we can understand, we have this what is called zip file. So you have got a lot of other files, so you can pack it together and the space occupied becomes less. Remember, in those days, they had to memorize everything. So, it's much easier to memorize sutras than to memorize whole text. See, a written prose text is difficult to memorize. But if it's in poetry, like see all these verses, it's much easier to memorize. You can chant it and memorize it. And if it's in the form of sutras, short, very compact, and then it's easier to memorize. Another reason why sutras were written was to systematize an existing body of knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge, but how do you bring it into one neat system? So you can study it, comment upon it, develop it, standardize, let's say, formalize, standardize. Yoga, for example, pre-existed long before the Buddha. Buddha himself studied 2,500 years ago. He mentions he studied a kind of proto-yoga, proto-sankhya. So, but the Yoga Sutras were formulated maybe sometime around the Buddha's time, maybe just after or just before him. So, when the Yoga Sutras were formulated by Patanjali, already the yoga knowledge was existing, but he brought it into a system and he wrote it down in these sutras, Yoga Sutras. Then there is the Grammar Sutras, sutras of Panini's grammar. So Sanskrit pre-existed all this. It's not that Sanskrit started with Panini, so long ago, thousands of years ago. But he brought it into a remarkable system. One of the grandest achievements of the human intellect, of human language in all civilizations. Sanskrit grammar. Panini's grammar sutras. Panini Sutras. Then every philosophical system in India had their own sutras, the traditional philosophical system. There is the Vaisheshika Sutras, Nyaya Sutras of Kannada. Gautama, Nyaya Sutras of Gautama, Vaisheshika Sutras of Kanada, Sankhya Sutras of Kapila, then Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Mimamsa Sutras of Jaimini. These are all pre-existing vast bodies of knowledge. You bring them into compact form. And the thing is, however, with the sutras, they are compact. Just like zip files. You've saved a lot of space, but you can't use the zip file directly. You have to unzip it to use it. To extract, they have to extract the files. Computer will say extract, you have to extract it. Similarly, from the sutras, you have to extract the meaning. It's been packed in there, you have to extract the meaning. So all of Vedanta existed in the Upanishads, but it was systematized and brought into a system of sutras by Badarayana Vyasa. And this system of sutras for Vedanta is called Brahma Sutra, also known as Vedanta Sutra. So here Krishna is saying, where do I find details? Well, you find it in the Brahma Sutras. The Brahma Sutras, there are 555 sutras in the Brahma Sutras. You might think that's a lot. The grammar sutras are more than 4,000 Panini Sutras. So, there is the Shiva Sutras, which is foundational for Kashmiri Shaivism. Naradiya Bhakti Sutras, which is sort of foundational for Bhakti texts. Introductory text, actually. So many sutras literatures is there. Because these are cryptic, there are different ways of interpreting them, and that's why it led to multiple schools of Vedanta. We have an Advaitic interpretation of the Brahma Sutras given by Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya extracts, unzips the Brahma Sutras and writes his masterful commentary. Shankaracharya's best work, most important work. If any scholar wants to study Shankaracharya, the first thing they want to study is the Brahma Sutras, the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, commentary on the Brahma Sutra. But the others also wrote commentary. Others also did the extraction. The wonder of wonders is they extracted in different ways. And different systems came up. Vishishta Dvaita, Dvaita Vedanta, Dvaita Advaita. You might say, which is right? All of them. That's the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna's thing, that there are all these messages, all these teachings encoded in the Upanishads and therefore encoded in the Brahma Sutras also. So when you draw out the meanings, you want to form a coherent framework, you can have multiple frameworks. It's not that one is right and the others are wrong. Though they argue against each other, which is the best reading of the Brahma Sutras. The Brahma Sutras, if you want to know what's there, first sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, hence, therefore, an inquiry into Brahman. The question will be, what is Brahman? See, hence, therefore, Atha. What does hence mean? And what does therefore mean? What does inquiry mean? What does Brahman mean? And then Shankaracharya writes page after page on the word hence. Hence means whence. And it's a long, convoluted discussion. What does that word hence mean? Atha. Hence means after what? It means anantari, after this. So Brahma Sutra starts, Vedanta starts after. After what? Big fight, hundreds of years. One group says, look, after completing the ritualistic portion of the Vedas, do your karma kanda, your Vedic rituals, lead the life of a Vedic householder. Then, after that, why would you say that? It's logical. Look, your Upanishads come after the karma kanda. First karma kanda, ritualistic portion of the Vedas, your devout, conventional, religious life. And then comes the higher philosophy, the higher teachings, spirituality. So first religious life, then spirituality. Is that true? It would put us in serious trouble. Then you would have to go through all of that rigmarole before you come to a Vedanta class. I would have to ask you, have you done your regular fire sacrifices? And they would ask earlier, Sandhya Vandan karte ho? Do you do your evening worship as a person initiated into Gayatri Mantra should do? So if it's after that, then it's a big problem. Then the whole system will have to be reorganized and probably not possible now. Shankaracharya saves us. He says, no, no, no. After does not mean after doing all that stuff. After this means after becoming qualified. If you have the requisite qualifications, you can enter Vedanta. What are the requisite qualifications? There's again a big discussion. What is that? What is the qualification? But I love it when Ramana Maharshi says, somebody asked him, am I qualified for Vedanta? Shankaracharya says, if you are qualified, you can start Vedanta. Am I qualified? And Ramana Maharshi said, did you say I? Then you can ask, who am I? Anybody who uses I can ask, who am I? So we are all qualified in that sense. Not so easy, but anyway, it's good to be open and liberal about these matters. So anybody who's interested can enter. That's the first sutra. And that's the first word, atha. Page after page, centuries of debate and quarrel. And very interesting. I mean, it's fascinating. Then you come to the next word, ataha, therefore. Wherefore? Because Shankaracharya explains, without him we would be lost. Because if you see the sutras, hence, therefore, enquiry Brahman. What? What does it mean? Hence, after having the qualifications, therefore, wherefore? Because the world is unsatisfactory. Because you have not been able to solve your problems in the world. Because you do not see any chance of any kind of deep, lasting fulfillment in this world. And here the Upanishads are talking about God realization, so on and so forth. Therefore, an enquiry into Brahman. Why inquiry? Why not prayer to Brahman? Why not puja to Brahman? Why not, sun salutations, Surya Namaskar, I can do sun salutations to Brahman. Why not meditation on Brahman? Why enquiry? Again, discussion will start. Page after page, very subtle. What does enquiry lead to? Knowledge. Enquiry only leads to knowledge. Any enquiry. You ask Google. What do you do when you ask Google? Enquiry. What will it give you? Knowledge. So enquiry. What is Brahman? What good does that do? It will tell you what is Brahman. What good that will do? Because the whole point is supposed to free you from samsara. If enquiry, see, the only way knowledge of Brahman can free me from samsara is if I am Brahman. If it shows me that I am Brahman, the knowledge reveals I am Brahman, therefore I am free. So this identity of Brahman and the Jiva, you are Brahman, I am the Kshetrajna, the knower of the field in all fields. This is implicit in the word enquiry. Enquiry will only lead to knowledge. Knowledge will reveal that Brahman, and Brahman is free. That only helps me if I am Brahman. Then I am free. Otherwise, what's the good of knowing that there is a Brahman who is free? Good for Brahman. What about me? Knowledge will free me only if I am identical with Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, if it is true, then knowledge will free me. And knowledge comes from enquiry. Hence an enquiry into Brahman. Not a meditation on Brahman. Not singing and dancing about Brahman. Or doing puja to Brahman. All those things are good. But enquiry about Brahman is what is prescribed. And then Brahman. What is this Brahman? Now comes the next sutra. This is all first sutra. It takes days and days to complete the whole commentary of Shankaracharya. Next sutra, we'll say, Janmadyasya yataḥ. That Brahman is that from which the existence, the creation, existence and dissolution of the universe occur. From which the universe comes, in which it exists, into which it disappears finally. In Sanskrit, asya jagata janma sthiti bhanga yasma tad brahma. That is Brahman. But even I skipped over so many interesting facets. For example, you have to complete the sentence. It's not a sentence. Hence, therefore, enquiry Brahman. What? Jigyasa kartavya. Enquiry should be done. And here there is a big fight again. When you say jigyasa, the Sanskrit word, Brahma jigyasa, the Sanskrit word means desire to know. Desire to know should be done. Immediately objection will come. Desire cannot be done. You may have a desire, you may not have a desire. So that's the whole problem of spiritual life. Sri Ramakrishna was asked, what is the one thing needed for God realization? And he says, Vyakulata, intense desire for God, restlessness for God. I want God. Like Sri Ramakrishna himself would weep and weep for the vision of Kali. But that's the whole problem. Intense desire, I really, really want God. But we are ashamed to say, but sort of, to be honest, I really, really don't want God. I mean, I want God, but not that much. It's on my to-do list. But there's other things on my Amazon shopping cart, apart from God. So how do you really, really want God? The same question comes up in the Brahma Sutras. What do you mean desire to know God, to know Brahman has to be done? Desire cannot be done. Either you have a desire or you don't have a desire. I can tell you, eat the food, doable. But if I tell you, be hungry, I can't. Either I am hungry or I am not. You tell me to eat the food, I can eat the food. Therefore, the meaning of desire to know, jigyasa, is now taken into, it becomes equivalent to vichara, enquiry. Desire to know is translated as enquiry, then the enquiry is doable. Like food can be eaten. Hungry, it's like this. Anyway, this is Brahma Sutras. And it goes on like this. 555 sutras. And I'm just giving you sort of free-flowing. There, every word is not just the word of the sutra. You'll get lost when you study it. Every word of Shankara's commentary. It might take one whole class to explain why he used that word and not anything else. There are sub-commentaries on Shankaracharya's commentary. And sub-commentaries on Shankaracharya's commentary, sub-commentary on Shankaracharya's commentary. That's how it is studied. The Brahma Sutras. And Sri Krishna says, you want detail? I'll give you detail. And go to Brahma Sutras and the commentaries, and much after Sri Krishna, of course. Hetu madbhir vinishchitehi. It is discussed with lot of details. Hetu mat means with reasoning, cause. Why? You keep asking why. And you get all this detailed discussion. Now, he's going to explain it in brief. All of that Ksetra, what is this universe? Before we go into it, let me tell you what he's going to do. He's going to tell us the Sankhyan description of the universe. What do I mean by Sankhyan description of the universe? What these ancient philosophers did was, they looked at the universe and you see millions of things, millions of people, animals, plants, chairs, tables, sky, earth, so many kinds of things are there. But that's the operative word, kind. So can I bring millions and millions unto different kinds of fewer number? So there are millions of human beings. Let's make it human beings. That's one. Millions of living beings. Okay, living beings. That's one. Humans are also included there. So this is classification. In order to make it manageable, in order to understand the universe, you don't have to go looking at every living being, every atom, every chair, table, rock. No. See what kinds of things are there. Classify, classify, classify. We did a lot of that in biology. All of us, we went through. Some of us loved it, most of us hated it. Memorizing all the phyla, genera, species, and God knows all of that. But imagine, it's classification. It's a huge, huge work to bring into some order of understanding the tremendous diversity of life. So the ancient philosophers did that. And different philosophers did it in different ways. So for example, the Vaisheshikas, another school of philosophy, they said the whole universe is 7 kinds of realities. There are 7 kinds of realities. That's the whole universe. What are the 7 kinds of realities? Dravya, guna, karma, samanya, vishesha, samavaya, abhava. Substances, there are things. Americans will go, duh, things, of course, there are things. Yes, so whatever you find, there are things. These are all things. Bodies are things, chairs are things. You're sitting there, that's the body is a thing. What you're sitting on is a thing. The floor is a thing. Even space is a thing. There are all kinds of things. So dravya, things. Then each of these things have qualities. No, the shirt I'm wearing and the shirt you are wearing, both are things, shirt. but the shirt has a quality. This is, it's orange, and that shirt is green, and so on and so forth. Color, shape, size, characteristics. Might say quality. Why quality? There are all debates are there. Why do you call it quality? Why aren't they things also? Color is also thing. No. Notice the difference between a thing and a quality. The quality stays in the thing. See, orange flower. Flower is a thing. This table is a thing. But if I say orange flower and brown table, notice the difference. The orange is a property of that flower. The brown is a property of this table. So these are qualities, guna, qualities, attributes. But it's not a static world, not just things and qualities. Things are moving, things are happening. Karma, action. There's action. It's a dynamic world. All kinds of movements, actions, whatever is happening in the world. And that's action. That's a third kind of thing, third kind of reality. Things, qualities, actions. Gets more subtle. I will not go into it. Things like universals. How do you know they are all human beings? There is something common to all of them. It's called a universal, samāsena. There's something called a vishesha also, from which the word vaisheshika comes. I won't go into it, it's convoluted. There are also relationships. So the book is on the table. So book is a thing, table is a thing, but what is this on? It's a relationship. So in the world, there are not isolated things. There are relationships. One special type of relation is samavaya. And they go so far as to say there are not only things in this world, there are absences. The book is on the table. Now the book is not on the table. And I notice the absence of the book on the table. Abhava, the absence of a thing. The absence of a reality is also is a kind of reality. Nothing is also a kind of thing. So 7 kinds of reality. That's one way of classifying. Sophisticated. Really sophisticated way. I learned from a teacher, Pandit V.N. Jha, and when he would teach this, he describe the universe in this way. If you look at it, see through his eyes, it's almost poetic. This is a tremendous description of this universe. What your Maya, Brahman and all that, nothing. This is such a vivid description of the universe. I still remember he would, in the Asiatic society, he would walk back and forth, would give him a cup of tea. So there's a saucer and a cup. There's a tea in the cup. The saucer is on and the cup is on the saucer. The relationships, cups. And he would sip the cup and then the tea and put it on the cup, and he would walk around talking to us. And he would be so immersed in this description of the world from this as substance and quality and action, he would forget, and we would be terrified that he'd drop the cup, He would stride back and forth holding the cup. For an hour, for 2 hours, for 3 hours, the tea long ago cold. It's completely forgotten. It was a sight to see. So this is one way of classifying. Much more sophisticated and deeper way of classifying, Sankhya. Not 7, 25. 25 characteristics of this. 24 of them belong to the field, and 1 is the knower of the field. Ksetra has 24 types in the Ksetra, and one more type of thing is the knower of the field, Ksetrajna. That is what he's going to talk. So he's not going to talk about substances and qualities and absences and things like that. You might say, what's there to know about an absence, not present? I can tell you, I spent 5 hours a day for 15 days studying nothing. That was the topic, abhava. Extraordinary, the subtleties of nothing. So 15 days course on nothing. That was the theme. Such deep thinking, inquiry into what it is to be nothing. This Tattva Chintamani, who is the great scholar, Navya Nyaya, founder of Navya Nyaya in Mithila. No, it came afterwards. Tattva Chintamani. Why am I forgetting? Anyway, very great person. Magnificent. Only a part of that was translated by Bimal Krishna Motilal, working at Harvard University. They've still preserved the chair on which he would sit and translate into English. The Navya Nyaya doctrine of negation. Navya Nyaya doctrine of negation. On nothing. And we studied that. And the whole book, it's Vedanta is child's play compared to that kind of thing. The whole book was finally translated, the Tattva Chintamani, crest jewel of truth, of reality. It was translated recently by Stephen H. Phillips into, I think, 4 volumes. It cost $7,000 or $4,000 or something like that. So don't think about buying it also. He's the first one who translated the whole thing into English. So, in Sankhya, there are 24 principles, and he's going to tell us about that. Verses 5 and 6 should be read together. Mahabhutanyahankaro Mahabhutanyahankaro buddhiravyaktamevacha buddhiravyaktamevacha indriyani dashaikam cha pancha chendriya gochara ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sanghataśh-cetana dhritih etat kṣhetraṁ samāsena savikaram mudahritam. The 5 great elements, egoism, ahankara, the intellect, the unmanifest, the 10 sense organs, and the 1 mind, and the 5 objects of the senses, desire, aversion, happiness, misery, the body, intelligence, and patience. Thus, the Ksetra has been described in brief together with its modifications. So what he says in many, many books you find it, I'm putting it into 2 verses here. What did he say? So he took 1 classification. The Vaisheshika, the classification has 7 categories of reality. The Sankhyan classification, 24 tattvas, 25 actually. Pure consciousness or knower of the field is 1, but you set aside the knower of the field. We're talking about the field here. We're talking about nature of the universe. What is the universe according to the Sankhyans? Keep in mind, this is not a book of physics. It's more describing what happens from inside out. From Maya, from Prakriti, how the universe emerges. So, before I go into this verse, I'll just tell you what are the 24. First is Prakriti, nature, what we call Maya in Vedanta. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, that Prakriti, the source nature, also known as Avyakta, unmanifest, simply because nothing is manifest there. You can't experience it. Think of it as the state before the Big Bang or something, So the next, what emerges from there? Intelligence, Mahat. Cosmic, not our individual intelligence, cosmic intelligence. Intelligence emerges from Prakriti, from the unmanifest, and emerges Mahat. From Mahat emerges a sense of ego, cosmic ego, not our ego, ahankara. From that emerges 16 things. What are the 16 things which emerge from Prakriti, Mahat, and ahankara? From that 16 things emerge. What are those 16? The 5 subtle elements: space, air, fire, water, earth, sukshma tanmatra. Then the 5 powers of the senses. Notice it's all inside out. Power of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. The principles, not actual eyes and ears. That's far ahead. Then emerges the 5 powers of action, 5 organs of action, the powers. Pancha karmendriya. And so how many do we have now? And mind. 16. And we already had 3 earlier. So you have 19. And from these 19, then further evolution of the 5 gross elements, the actual physical elements of, again, space, air, fire, water, earth. So 19 plus 5, 24. Repeating again, Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankara, and then Manas, 5 Gyanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Sukshma Tanmatra. Then that's 19. And then 5 gross, Pancha Mahabhuta. Here the order has been changed and the names are a little different. That's why it might seem a little confusing. I'll leave it at that. So this is the field. The field. Yes. We'll go into question answers. After this comes next class, of course, Shri M will speak. He'll speak on the Gita, but what he will speak might be different. Then we will go into the 20 practices. See, the great question of, I get it, now what? Now this. Now this. How do you make it a living reality and how do you live it? Non-dual knowledge. 20 practices will be given. Very interesting. We will see that from the next class onwards. Let me do the peace chant and you can come with the basket and question answers also. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Someone should Google it. Tattva Chintamani, Navya Nyaya, founder. It's bugging me. Gangesha, of course, the giant. So Gangesha, who lived in Bihar, what do we call Mithila specifically. So mastermind. He wrote the book Tattva Chintamani. And that's the source of the Neo school of law, the school of neologic in India, Navya Nyaya. Of neologic in India, everything in India is old, so neologic is also 1,000 years old. I will come to you. We'll come next. Here, do you have a microphone? Somebody raise their hand here. Yes. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Hello.
Yes.
My name is Sakshi. My question is, so when you were talking about...
Speak directly into it.
Yeah, when you were talking about the seer being distinct from the field, I was wondering how, like, in a situation where there is war and lot of chaos among countries, so I was wondering how would one look at that concept and, like, have a sense of grounding and stability, and will there be will there be difference between being, like, dissociated or delusional, or will that individual actually understand that what's happening at this moment is more like a like just the field?
Yes. The answer to that is yes and no. What you said, will you feel, will it be useful for you? Will it be useful in solving the world's problems? See, will it lead to dissociation, alienation? It might seem like that. You are distancing yourself from everything in the universe. I am the witness of it. I am the seer and everything else is the field. Won't that lead to alienation and difference? But remember, this is not the end of the road. This is step one only. Then he will show you whatever you call this, the field is nothing but you. The seer of the field alone is appearing as the field itself. For example, in a dream, what happens? In a dream, first of all, to realize you are not the person in the dream, you have to wake up and see, I was dreaming the whole thing. So I am not the person in the dream. Then you realize everything that was in the dream was me. So Vedanta is not a philosophy of dissociation or separation. It's a philosophy of oneness. And from oneness only comes solutions to problems like war and hatred and violence are all because of separation, of seeing the other. and being afraid of the other or being angry with the other. But if you feel that the other is I, me, mine, it's one with me, then it at the deepest possible level, the solution is there. So Vedanta gives that answer. But first of all, you can't straight away say, I am that other person. You aren't. You are not the other person. Clearly. You are different. As long as you are a body, as long as you are a biological creature, an economic creature, as long as you are a person, you are different from other persons. But what is that person in depth? That's what the investigation is. First step is to see that the person is not biological creature, is not just this body, not even just this mind. Body and mind are part of the field. I am consciousness. The moment you do that, then everybody else also becomes consciousness for you. As long as I see myself as a body, I'll see others as a body. As long as I see myself as a person, I will see others as a person. That's what we do. You see yourself as God, you will see everybody else as God also. So that's the first step. And then you see that will come. This entire universe is actually one with you. It's not separate from you. You take a God's eye view of this universe. What does this universe look like to God? They are all my children. Then you see every problem will be open to solution. For you. Others won't see it. They'll go on fighting. Yes, the gentleman there.
Hi Swami, my name is Arvind.
Yes.
My question's about AI consciousness. I've heard the skepticism being that consciousness is not reducible. But I often don't understand what irreducibility has to do with AI consciousness, because that's not what we mean when we say that humans are conscious, at least if you're Vedantin. What we mean is that this configuration of elements is a very sophisticated medium to manifest in an individuated way this one universal consciousness. So why can't a machine do the same?
Yes, in fact, I did not have time to explain, but exactly what you said, Krishna has said this. This sophisticated body-mind system, this field, manifests consciousness. Exactly it was said here. It says, Indriyani dashaikam cha pancha cha indriya gochara ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sanghatas chetana dhriti. Sanghata, body-mind complex. Sanghata means complex. After the universe is made, this body-mind complex emerges through a process of biological evolution, whatever you call it. And what does it do? It manifests consciousness, chetana. This consciousness, however, is not the knower of the field. It's a reflection of the knower of the field. It's a manifestation of the knower of the field. It is what is called chidabhas, a reflected consciousness. Now, if a complex body-mind, biological complex can manifest consciousness, why not an artificial complex? In principle, it should be doable. And I say, yes, in principle, it's certainly doable. What cannot be done, according to Advaita Vedanta, is that complex cannot produce consciousness. Here also, the complex is not producing consciousness. It's manifesting, it's channelizing, it is localizing, you might say, what is already existing, and is putting it into use. It's just like sunlight is there, moon reflects it. The moon utilizes in a quote-unquote sunlight to illumine the earth at night. But if the moon can do it, can't an artificial moon do it? What's an artificial moon? Satellites. So satellites can do it. Satellites, when you see them, they reflect sunlight also when they go across the sky. So in principle, a machine might be able to manifest consciousness, a pre-existing consciousness. Vedanta just makes it clear and easy that yes, a machine can do that. And therefore, for all practical purposes, it might seem to come alive. However, what is that mechanism which will manifest consciousness? Clearly not what we have right now. Nobody in their right mind would say, especially those who are experts in the field, who are working in the field of AI. In fact, they will say just the opposite. They will say we are beautifully able to mimic, to produce the effects of intelligence, of decision making, of memory, of perception. The modern machines can do all of that. Creativity. Who could think that? And creativity. There are machines now writing short stories. There was an old science fiction story, very nice, long before our modern chat GPT. but exactly predicting that. One man, he makes a machine, it's called the great grammatizer or something like that. Big machine, in all this old, with vacuum tubes or whatnot, and it fills a whole room. What can it do? It can write a story. And it goes, and this guy goes and sells it to a publisher. Publisher is not convinced. What will this do? What good is it? Said that it can write a story. Well, I've got so many authors who can write stories. But can any author write one story per day for 365 days, one book per day, or more than one book in 1 hour, and continuously go on writing? I said, no. I will give you such a machine where it will write, you can dismiss all your authors. And you can keep on publishing. Wow. Publisher is immediately sold it. And he purchases that machine. The story is very nice. It's called the great grammatizer. And there are dials. See, dial for action, dial for emotion, dial for drama, dial for tragedy. And they first write one novel using that. And the publisher who was pressing those dials, and the inventor says, it's done, sir. First novel is ready. And the publisher says he was panting. It was hard work writing this novel. He was just pushing the dials. And the story ends there. But it is so true now. Exactly that thing is happening, and you don't have to press too many dials. It's you can just set the things in their programming. So creativity is being done. Only one thing is not being done, that is consciousness. What argument is hidden here? The argument is consciousness is not like the other capacities of the mind. All the capacities of the mind you are able to model, except consciousness. So consciousness is not a capacity of the mind. It's something else. It may be reflected in the mind. This is one of the arguments which I am using nowadays to show the distinction between mind and consciousness. I am not saying that the machines cannot reflect consciousness. Quite in principle, it should be possible. In principle, not right now. But what it shows is clearly the difference between mind and consciousness. You are easily able to replicate mental, or not easily, it takes a lot of hard work, but not consciousness. Not only not able to replicate or mimic consciousness, there is no traction on the problem also. Nobody knows how to do it. But you want to make a AI intelligent, you know how to approach it. You want to make an AI give power to make it take decisions, you know how to do it. You want to make an AI which can paint pictures, you know how to do it. Right now there's making movies, short movies and all. You know how to do it. But make it conscious? No. We have no grasp on what consciousness means right now. So consciousness is different from mind. Yes. Wait. The gentleman there, he had raised his hand earlier. You can pass the microphone down, and then we'll come to you, and then we'll stop. Yes.
Swamiji, my name is Narendra. First, I wanted to say I've been working through all your episodes of the Bhagavad Gita on YouTube, and the episodes on chapter 3, verses 37 to 40 on the nature of desire had a profound effect on me, and I really wanted to thank you for that. My question comes from, you were joking about the Amazon shopping cart, about Brahman and knowing yourself, and Jivan Mukti as the true purpose in life. But what I reflect on is you're also born into a family and a community, and you have obligations. And if at this stage you start understanding more about yourself by reading the Gita and going through that experience, how do I reconcile the two? Because once you start understanding yourself better,
it should help you. It should help you to live this particular life itself. You're in the family, you have got obligations, you have got a job, and you have got things to do personally, for the community, for the family. It should help you. It should help each of us. Spirituality should be able to help each of us wherever we are, whoever we are. At that stage, it should have something to help us, something to give us. Vivekananda put it very vividly. He said, I do not believe in a religion which cannot lift a piece of bread to a starving man's lips, and cannot wipe the tears of the widow, and promises heaven after death. I do not believe in such a religion. What it means is, spirituality should be able to help us right now. In our sorrows, in our struggles, should be able to strengthen us and give us power. Right now, even before we are enlightened and Jivan Mukta and all of that. Something it should be able to, at least some light it should be able to throw on us, on our current problems. By the way, you mentioned desire. See, these are things I did not talk about. When Krishna says, in brief, I will tell you what the field is, he mentions desire, for example. He says here, in the 6th verse, Ichcha dvesha sukham dukkham. Ichcha dvesha here, it means raga dvesha, likes and dislikes. Once the body is created, all the background work has been done, then consciousness is reflected in this body. And that reflected consciousness identifies with this mind and body, what is called sanghata, complex. Then what happens? Immediately likes and dislikes appear. Moment I am a biological being in a world, an economic being, a political being in a world, in a society, I will have likes and dislikes. There are certain things, certain people, certain activities, certain food, I will like. Certain people, certain activities, certain views, certain experiences I will not like. Raga dvesha will come. A result of raga dvesha, what will happen? Sukha dukkha. Pleasure and pain will come. And in order to avoid pain and achieve pleasure, I will have dhriti. This is willpower. Exert myself. This is our present situation. But notice, he has said something here. All of this is field. It's not you. And we think it's I. I have desires. I have likes. I have dislikes. I have enjoyments. I have sufferings. And I want to do these things. All of that is field. How will we know? Object. Is it something that you are aware of? In that case, it's not you. It's the field. You are the knower of that. All right. Last question here. A lady here.
Namaskar, Swamiji. I have a very basic question on the same note of the difference between mind and consciousness. Could you explain the different types of mind, like the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, and the conscious mind? And is the consciousness aware of that conscious mind? And then also, when we feel anything, is it the heart or is it the mind that's feeling?
It's the mind. In Vedanta, the distinction is between the mind and the vasanas, the conditionings, what today we might call the unconscious mind. So the mind is that which is lit up by consciousness in Vedanta. And the reflected consciousness is there, the chetana which we just mentioned, and the mind is lit up by that. So the thoughts, the vrittis which come to the mind, that's called mind. Mind here is a broad term, but actually in Vedanta there are 4 components: mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. The processing, thinking and feeling is called mind. Understanding is called buddhi. The sense of ego which ties the whole thing together, the feeling of I, that's not the real you, it's the ego, that's called ahankara. And then the storehouse of impressions, past experiences, without which we will not be able to make sense of anything at all, that is called chitta. So mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. And again, the important thing is, the whole takeaway from this is, none of these are you. We take it automatically, that's what I am. No, it's not you. It's equipment. It's software. It's not you. It's so freeing to know that. It's there, you can use it, but it's not you. You are not here to serve its purpose. You are the witness of that. You are the knower of the field. Mind, intellect, memory, subconscious mind, desires, conditionings, good and bad, all are the field. You might say the field is not in good condition. Good. You can improve it. Don't say I am not in good condition. You're always in good condition. You're always shining, revealing the field. Then do what has to be done. We'll leave it at that. Thank you so much.